First time I've really like seen it, besides just like pictures that you send me.
Yeah. And hello, everybody. Welcome to the Go Home Wrestling Show. My name is CJ. Alongside with me, the smart man in glasses. Because the reason I call him smart is that I have evidence, by the way, that he is a fan of 205 Live. D-Shep, say hello to everyone. D-Shep. Yes, you did say that. I have the photographic evidence.
No. I said there was a good cruiserweight match on the pay-per-view.
Which indicates that you're a fan.
Absolutely nothing about liking 205 Live.
Which indicates that you're a fan of 205 Live.
Fuck off. Jeez.
And I thought you said you would never be a fan. So I had to throw that right away.
I never said. I said...
You're a fan of the match, which means... I'm lumping it in.
A match is not a fan of the show. Jeez. Why you gotta make me yell? It's too early. The show just started.
Because it's just the start of it. That's the thing. It's the start of you becoming a fan. That's all I'm saying.
This way. Are you gonna take my word for it, or are you gonna take the word of someone that busts their nutsack?
Hold on. Well, first of all, that only happened because someone refused to take the spot.
That you say. But there's never.
And I'm in context with the guy. He's going to come on sometime. He's going to explain the story to you.
Well,
he even admits that it's his fault.
You've been telling me that for like 3 months now. And,
well, at the Royal Rumble watch along, we'll be doing it at his place. So yes, you will get
sure.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the
Santa
Royal.
Claus is real too.
Yeah, no, he is. I wait for him every year. I asked for that. Nice golden hat. That golden hat that D-Shep doesn't like, and hopefully this year I'll get it just because it annoys the piss out of him.
What is golden about that hat?
It is awesome.
It's red with white stripes.
It is great. Don't hate. Anyways, welcome everybody. He's blowing the pay-per-view match out of context again. Oh, ho. Magriff, don't be hating already. Don't start. Okay, and we'll get into that. Today we're going to be covering Survivor Series, Raw, and Smackdown, which were two very uneventful shows. And then I was thinking, should we throw NXT in the mix? But you know what? Usually a show after TakeOver, it's a recap show. So we're not even going to bother covering it this week. But all right, what's up, great one? Of course, we're responding to chat for people that are listening to this on the podcast form. We are live every Saturday night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube. So check us out if you want to talk to us live when we record this podcast. Here we go. Let's get right into it right away. Let's get into the week in review. And we're going to start this week right away with the Survivor Series. And really anticipated, but we were upset with the events that happened prior, with last week, the week before on Raw at the Go Home show, where Becky Lynch was hurt by Nia Jax, resulting in her being replaced in the match with Charlotte Flair. Well, of course, we're going to get our takes on that later on. First, we go right into the Women's Survivor Series match. I'm going to be honest with you. Out of all the matches I put notes, I didn't really put much notes into this one because, to me, it just didn't hit. It didn't hit.
Why didn't it hit? Why? Oh, because they kept changing members of matches and going in to the actual match. You did not even know all the participants.
Yeah.
And then they took 2 people out at the beginning of the pay-per-view and replaced them by 2, technically more qualified people, sure.
Yep.
But you were like, okay, so now they're in the match. And then when Smackdown teams started coming out, you're like, oh my God, could it possibly be, they're kicking off Survivor Series, man? That 5th member on Smackdown. Maybe it could be Nikki Cross, something to get the crowd excited. Maybe a returning superstar. No, it's Mandy Rose.
Yeah, it was a monumental disappointment because, if you want to start the show off with a bang, especially with everything going on in the past month, I mean, starting from Roman Reigns to, Becky getting hurt. I mean, this has been a very interesting month for the company. Can you say that?
Yeah, but then also remember, a week before Becky got hurt on SmackDown, they announced that Charlotte was going to be the team captain.
Yep.
And then she didn't even appear on the show that night. Like, what? And then all of a sudden, Becky gets hurt, and all of a sudden, Charlotte's back.
Yep.
And you're like, what?
Yeah, and of course we'll get into that. Yeah, it seems a little odd. But
no, the women's match was cursed from the beginning, man. There's really not much to say about it. It was a clusterfuck. It was pointless. It was a waste of time. I had a small hope for it that, being that it was kicking off and the main show and being the fact that, they didn't announce that fifth member, I was kind of hoping it was something to get us all invested.
Same here.
It just wasn't.
Yeah, and with that, it's like this is how you follow up to a great pay-per-view like Evolution. You start them off in a match, and now that you change the members up quite a few times. So, I mean, anything that he could have built into a good match was probably ruined because of that. But nonetheless, the whole idea of the match was to turn Nia Jax heel. And what she did at the end of the match was she got her own teammate eliminated, and resulting in her to be the only sole survivor. And
that was kind of funny.
It was.
That was a unique finish.
It was.
I'll give them a unique finish to a shit match, pretty much.
Definitely. But again, that was the whole point of it, was to get her to turn heel. And obviously, for what we've seen the night after, is that she's going into the program with Ronda. Now, going from that into a match that I thought were probably going to steal the show. And that was the United States Champion going up against the Intercontinental Champion, Seth Rollins, going up against Shinsuke Nakamura. Throughout the match, they kind of did the mind games. They were playing mind games with one another, mocking each other. A lot of back and forth.
When Rollins mocked Shinsuke, that shit was funny as hell. With the
Come on!
I was cracking up, man. That shit was funny.
It definitely is. I love when they do that. But you know what? Offensively, it went back and forth, which you like a match like that. You don't want like a completely one-sided match, especially with these two guys. Two big, huge false finishes. You saw the Kinshasa back of the head. Thought for sure that there was going to be an upset. But and then the Falcon Arrow. I mean, that was a devastating maneuver. But of course, close fall, didn't get it. Rollins did get the win with the stomp after the counter to a second Kinshasa. And there you have it, the winner of the match, Seth Rollins. Now, real quick, it's a basic question, but got to ask it anyway. What'd you think of the match?
I think it was pretty much almost what you expected. It was probably one of the top 3 matches on the whole card, obviously. But then I was scratching my head after the match when there was no post-match attack, nothing. Dean wasn't even at Survivor Series. That was
shocking.
Technically, he was there, I guess, whatever. But I mean, if there wasn't going to be interference during the match, you at least expected a beatdown after.
Mm-hmm.
Just that kind of fell flat. But for the actual match itself, it was a good, solid match.
It was a great match, and you know what? I'm going to ask you the next question. But the thing about that, it's funny that you said that there was nothing post-match interaction. But I think because of what happened later on that night, I think that's why they kind of laid off of that, if you get what I'm saying, with the women's match. So, again, we'll get into that. I think, fuck
that shit. Why can't you do it more than once in a night?
Repetition. They probably feel it took a blow. It took away from that one.
In real time, the 2 matches that you're talking about were 2 hours apart, though. Is that really repetition?
No, I can see you. No, I'm not. You make a valid point, but that could be their thought. I could be way off on that, but yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't do anything. Especially as you got Nakamura, that's the heel in this matchup, that he didn't even do anything despite the loss. I mean, I know you're selling the move, blah blah blah, but come on, nothing after the match. I kind of agree with you on that one. All right. The one question I have for you, though, because obviously you know who won the match, but who did you honestly think could have benefited the most with a victory in this match? Would it have been more beneficial for Nakamura to get the win and not hurt Rollins? Because Rollins is on a roll, but do you think that would have hurt him more?
It honestly doesn't matter what happens with Rollins these days. So, yeah, definitely he did not need to win. Yeah, you can argue Shin don't really need to win either, but as often as Shin is on TV as compared to Rollins, Shin definitely needed the win more because he's not on SmackDown every week.
No.
So he would have benefited clearly by having the win over Rollins, but they did that way to help the Dean and Seth feud be that much stronger.
Honestly, I agree with you. He could have benefited, but I think it's more of that contract thing. I think they're a little gun shy right now because of the possibility of him not re-signing. He's coming up on the end of his contract. Yeah, I read that. I'll read that in a second. He's coming up on the end of his contract, so that could be part of the reason. It's like, why invest in anything into him if he's uncertain if he's going to remain in the company?
I don't understand about that. I read something like that too the other day with that they tend to do this on expiring contracts all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if this is what you do and this is how you treat your talent, you can't be surprised when they leave then. Like,
it's not a good selling point to keep you in a company. I understand that. Yeah, it isn't. It's not good. Like, oh, come here, stay here. We'll invest time, money, all this into you.
And you wonder why people like Cody do their own promotion and why Jericho does his own thing with the Cruise. You wonder why that's going on.
Because the business is healthy.
You don't think someone like Nakamura could basically do the same thing, but for Japan wrestling, unlike, Cody doing it in U.S. and Jericho doing the Cruise? Nakamura could do the same thing overseas.
And what you're referring to is the All Elite Wrestling, which, I mean, we could discuss in a little bit. That there's obviously a new promotion, going to be formed, and the Jacksonville Jaguars owners are part of it. And it's rumored that it's Jericho, JR, Young Bucks, Cody, all involved to build this up. And, I mean, this shows how, healthy the business is when you got companies like that forming. I mean, you got MLW on the rise. You got Impact hopefully on the rise. They're doing pretty good for what they're doing. You have Ring of Honor, which I think is going to go on a downslide because they're going to lose a lot of talent in the next 6 months. So they'll find their way back. But overall, I mean, the business is really healthy. So, hey, power to them. All right, so Magriff, I'm going to address this. He says, by the way, I show Mama Magriff 205, Magriff 205, or Griff XT, I guess. And she says it sucks too. Well, the show is awesome. What do you want to do with Bryan, but not the other guys coming up on contract? A little strange. Yeah, it is a little weird. But again, Bryan's situation, they wanted to keep him. They didn't want him to go anywhere else because, I mean, they can make money off him. Shinsuke, they can in a way, but the fact that the language, they're not able to speak clear English, I think that kind of hurts them in a way.
I don't fully believe it. I think he could speak a lot more English than he lets on, and I think this is just WWE kind of holding him back a bit.
You think so?
I do.
I haven't heard him, and I could be completely wrong, so I guess we'll wait. I hope he stays. If not, he's going to All Elite. What's that?
You gotta have him stay, man. I want to see a Shin versus Rey Mysterio match. I want to actually see the Shin versus Randy Orton match too. These are matches I want to see, and yeah, we gotta have him stay, man.
Well, it's clear that they said the rumor this week is that you're going to see a program between Shinsuke Nakamura and Rey Mysterio. So, Magriff's little theory of last week saying that the one title that Rey Mysterio has not received was the U.S. title, and we might actually see that. So props to him if it actually happens. That's another one Matt's got. All right, so let's move along. We had the IC versus U.S. champion. Now it's the champion versus champion. That tag team division. AOP going up against the Bar. And I'll tell you, and here are the notes that I got. AOP dominated in a good bit of the match, and that was beneficial for them coming off their...
The only thing I'll say about that match, besides the fact that I could care less, thank God they made AOP look strong.
Yeah.
Well, except for the guy that peed his pants.
And we'll get into that in a second.
That's pretty much all I got to say about that match, though. Thank God they let AOP win.
Well, yeah, they really showed the power. The Bar had a good chance to win with Sheamus hit Razor with the bro kick, and Drake put Razor's foot on the rope before the count of three. Now, that was the thing that didn't hurt the SmackDown side AOP, and of course the Bar, because the Bar could have had a victory, but the manager helped them, so it was a way to kind of help the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Of course, at the end, which is the biggest joke going on right now, after Drake was chased around the ring, he literally ran into the Big Show. He lifted him up in a chokeslam hold, had him up on the apron, and then, holding him in a choke position. Then the Bar and the Big Show realized Drake pissed himself. They got a laugh, which distracted him, allowing AOP to hit the finisher for the win. Now, does this ending of the match show how WWE feels about their tag team division? Like, you had a good match like that, and you have to end in that kind of manner? Do you think that was more, did it hurt them more than it helped them?
Well, let's see. Which is worse? Pissing your pants?
Yeah.
Or the clusterfuck that we didn't talk about, but it did happen with the kickoff match.
Mm-hmm.
And they made it a point, I swear, at least a dozen times during the whole entire pay-per-view, how, well, SmackDown technically won a match, but it was the kickoff. And they kept dismissing the tag team match all night long, even though towards the last, 5 to 10 minutes of it was really fucking good.
Yeah.
And you had that happen, and if that wasn't bad enough, then literally an hour later, you have a guy pissing his pants on the show. Really? I mean, is there any hope for any tag team anymore in WWE? I don't think so.
Yeah, it seems like that way, and because I brought that point up to someone else, and they're like, really? They gave, because of what they've been doing, you're seeing them more and more in the on Raw, SmackDown, and you didn't see as many tag team matches. I was like, yeah, but when you have a match end like that, what does that say? Is it more of a comedy relief, or shouldn't they be taken more seriously? That was the thing I had a problem with, was that ending. Great match up to that point, and obviously you liked the match, and because my next question was, despite that I consider it shit ending, what'd you think of the match? Obviously you were okay up till the end of it.
No, the whole match I thought sucked. Really,
You thought it was awful?
I was disinterested in the whole fucking thing. Because you knew
you said the other one was good.
Was going to happen. You weren't waiting for a good spot in the match. You were waiting for the stupid thing to happen. You didn't know if it was going to be Big Show or Drake Maverick, but you knew something stupid was coming. I thought the stupid thing was going to be they were going to actually have Bar win. And oh my fucking God, if they had the Bar win, we could probably have a half-hour rant about that tonight. Thank God, AOP winning was the only good thing of that match.
Okay,
to me,
I kind of liked it.
I wasn't interested whatsoever. The whole idea of pinning the manager Drake Maverick, going toe-to-toe to equal the amount of people on each side with the Big Show. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. But, yeah, nah. It did nothing for me.
I guess I'm seeing it in more of the eyes of a mark, because I'm a fan of AOP, and seeing that they gave them that, they showed how strong they are, how they showed that, and, I mean, they didn't hurt them in any way. I think I was looking at the eyes, it's like, oh, a month ago these guys were non-existent on programming, and here they are.
Just to give you a fair comparison,
I'm
a great fan of the Usos. Love the Usos.
Definitely a big fan.
Look what the Usos did in that match. Fantastic. Then what happened? The entire show, they dragged the unimportance of that match throughout the whole show, which is basically just shitting on the Usos the entire night. I'm sorry, but I would not want to be Jimmy or Jey Uso right now getting shitted on like that for 4 straight hours. I don't fucking think so.
Yeah, and then the fact that they didn't acknowledge that victory for SmackDown because it wasn't on the main card.
The whole undefeated thing. I know we're going to talk about that later, probably, but they weren't undefeated.
No, they weren't. And of course, they acknowledged that on SmackDown. Of course, we'll get to that. Magro says, D-Ship, are you mad, bro? Yeah, it seems like it. All right, so here we go. Next match. The match that made D-Shep a mark for 205 Live, and that, of course, was the 205 Cruiserweight Championship between Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali. High energy back and forth attacks to start the match. Very good. They go. Now this was the turning point, and from there it showed the strength of Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali trying to gain the upper hand and kept failing every chance he had. They went outside. Mustafa was going for a moonsault from the top rope to the floor. Murphy countered and pushed him off the top rope onto the barricade. From there, it was like the downfall of that match. But still was a good match, but it showed the strength of Murphy because anytime Ali would produce some offense, he would shut him down. Great high spot was when Ali did hit Murphy with the Spanish Fly from the announcer's booth to the floor. That was a good spot. But, of course, it didn't matter because at the end, Murphy wins the match with the Murphy's Law. I mean, honestly, I know how you feel about 205 Live. You know I'm a good fan. I'm a big fan of that show. But, honestly, I want to hear your assessment of how you feel about that match.
As far as the match itself, it was definitely in the top 3 match of the night. No doubt. You can argue with Rollins and Shinsuke and probably, this match. And you can kind of toss up another match in there. Pretty much were your wrestling matches of the night.
Yeah.
And how sad is the state of WWE right now when, counting the kickoff match, this was the 4th match on the card for a product that I despise. And it was the first match that got me invested in Survivor Series.
Screw my life. 2 papers in a row of the night. Doesn't mean I'm a fan of 205, but the spot was good. Magriff and D-Shep. It's funny that you guys both hate 205 Live, but when it came to Super Showdown and when it came to the Survivor Series, you both couldn't, you couldn't hate on the 205 Live match. You couldn't hate on the Cruiserweight Championship.
Well, because there were so many other things to hate about the matches that were before the 205 Live match that you had to go into it with positive thoughts.
Oh, likely excuse.
You knew they were not going to come out and do another bullshit match. Like, they had to let them guys stand out, and you knew they were going to give them the leg to stand on because they didn't put them on the kickoff show for once. So I knew the moment they put that match on the main card, we were going to see something for guys like me and Magriff that we weren't maybe necessarily expecting. Yeah, you were expecting it because you love that shit. But the moment they decided to put it on the main card, you already knew going into it that it was going to be a great match.
And the thing I like about that is that I think this what shows how Murphy's like really raising the stock at 205 Live is that 2 matches he's involved in, one chasing the title, and then his first defense at Survivor Series, they're both on the main card. Before that, when Cedric Alexander, not taken away from his talents, but it seemed like there was something not clicking. Buddy Murphy comes along, he's coming in as their hot guy, and 2 pay-per-views in a row they're on the main card.
Let's also, this is not a 205 Live bash.
Okay.
But Buddy Murphy's not the traditional cruiserweight. He's right up there with guys like Neville and Rey Mysterio.
Agreed.
Yeah, he's technically on the brand. I get that. But let's be real. When you watch a Buddy Murphy match, your first thought isn't, man, that's a killer cruiserweight. That's not your first thought.
No. No, it's the strength that he has, and it, like I said, it showed in that match.
Not because I hate 205 Live, but I really hope that dude gets the recognition he deserves and gets on the main card someday. A match between him and Rey Mysterio for the U.S. title? Oh my goodness!
Oh, it would definitely be good because it would be like Neville getting his title shot against Rollins. It'd be that same type of match. No, I agree with you. He should get bumped up to the main roster, but if it's either that or being like a Kurt Hawkins or just a jobber, I would like for him to stay on 205 Live for now because at least he's getting something. And obviously we kind of addressed that. We did like how they showed Buddy Murphy's strength, and it goes to what you were saying that it maybe it's not the traditional cruiserweight because they're more of a. But the fact that he can do cruiserweight moves with the size that he is and the strength that he has, it just makes him even more special. Great be me. Murphy versus Nakamura. Yeah, that would be a great match. I would like to see that happen. But you know what? Margaret, and I'll ask you this too, D-Shop. Can you see like 205 Live, like those type of guys being the new generation? Because you notice that the stars from the 80s compared to now, they're a lot smaller. Do you see that being the future of like wrestling?
It can be, but there's not a lot of. I guess Adam Cole would fall into that. Ricochet would fall into that. Buddy Murphy would fall into that. Oh.
Yeah, see what I mean?
I just don't know who's in that next group after that would have that same firepower, charisma, athleticism. I don't know.
I guess we got to see, but it just seems to me.
The way things are going now,
yep.
Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, all of them smaller, let's say, 225 and less dudes?
Yep.
I could definitely see it.
Yeah, it does seem that way. And you know what? If that's the way it is, if they have great storytelling, which is starting to show more on the 205 Live side, you're seeing more of a show, a real show, because it's also being pre-taped as opposed to being live in the past. So you're seeing more vignettes, you're seeing more story-driven segments for that show. And give it time, man. I'm telling you, you're going to be a fan. And so is Matt. Just saying, if you like their matches, I can't wait till we do the watch along. Depends on the style of Murphy style. Then yes, it's just high flying stuff. Like the future isn't good. No. Here's the thing: he showed his strength, and that was the thing I took away from that match. And that was the story they were trying to tell, is that he had more than just that he was a big guy pulling off the same moves as everyone else. Is that Mustafa Ali tried to produce some offense, and the strength from Murphy shut it down every time. That was the story that was being told in that match, at least how I interpret it. Because wrestling is art, and everyone has their own interpretation. All right, so moving along from the Cruiserweight Championship onto the men's Survivor Series match. The women's was a clusterfuck. Was the men's a part of it? Was that the same way? We'll find out. Hello, TP Poker. Welcome, my friend. And I'll go down a series of notes real quick. We have to address this right off the bat. Joe starts the match with a sneak coquina clutch. McIntyre countered to hit Joe with the Claymore for the elimination. Dude, I'm starting to feel it isn't they're hurting him creatively. Somewhere he's not exactly 100% right now. Nothing has been reported. I've been looking everywhere to see if that's the case, but it just isn't anything out there. Do you feel that he's injured? Because look at all the matches he's been doing. I don't know. I know he did a big match. What was that? Super Show, Crown Jewel, but I mean, I don't know.
He could have found a way to make him look strong. Yes, I know Strowman was going to come out winning no matter what. That's how they set it up. That's how they advertise. Okay, yeah, I get that. But Joe had to really be the first one gone. And in that fashion, really, that's terrible. I don't even want to talk about it. It's just terrible.
I don't think he's 100%. I think he's wrestling hurt. Again, I've tried to look, but it just seems that way. All the matches being very short, how they're ending. I mean, the last match before, I think it was Super Showdown, where Joe couldn't continue the match. He couldn't continue the match in the qualifying for the Crown Jewel for the World Cup. It was one thing after another. I don't know what to make of that. It's just completely weird of a guy that talented with that talent be used in that manner. Someone in chat, TP Poker, he said he's definitely hurt, fighting through, so he can get paid. Well, I mean, he was kind of get paid, but just not as much. But in the process, I think he should just take care of what he has, because he's towards the end. You don't want to ruin anything. So yeah, moving further in that match, McIntyre Strowman went at it. Now, at one point, this is the thing I found weird, is that SmackDown, they attacked Strowman, they all did it together, taking out Strowman, putting him through the table, and I like the spot from Shane. Props for him for doing it. It was when he went off the top rope to the outside through the announcer's booth, taking out the Monster Among Men. Then, a moment later, hits the coast to coast and knock out, oh God, Dolph Ziggler, which, yeah, we find out that he's hurt too now. And then he tried to hit it again where Shane tried to hit the second one on Lashley, but was punched in midair by Strowman. Strowman got back into the match after that. Then hits Hardy with the power slam for elimination. Hits Mysterio. Hits The Miz. And finally hits Shane with his own version of the Claymore kick. A splash in the corner. And then finished him off with the power slam to give Raw their victory. First thing I got to ask you. Out of all of what I just told you, obviously, you have an opinion. I see you already. What you think of the match, my friend?
Garbage.
Really?
You know, the more I think about it, the more I don't like it. I understand the Strowman stuff with it. I was fine how they did everything with Strowman, although I did think he was on the outside a little too long before he came back in it.
Yeah.
But the showcation of Shane McMahon again, the spots were, I guess, cool, but he looked like he was struggling big time. Was that part of the act? Probably. But it just, like, when you think of that match now, almost a week later, you think of Strowman and you think of Shane, you really don't think about anybody else.
No, because you don't think about Drew McIntyre, which is obviously they're pushing.
Now, the funny... McIntyre and Strowman tagging each other in, that shit was kind of funny.
Oh, yeah.
Really, I'm not watching the main themed match of the pay-per-view looking for funny moments, though. I'm looking for high-octane offense, something that's going to make me stand up, and be like, damn, they did that. And you really didn't get that in this match at all.
Now, one thing I will say is that they obviously, the story they were trying to tell was Strowman. He wants a shot at Corbin, and then he wants a shot at the Universal title. That was the story being told. And the fact that he was taken out, came back, and in desperation wiped out the entire freaking team. Well, 4 of the remaining members of Smackdown. I mean, that was obviously the story they were trying to be told. But overall, this is the one thing I got to ask you is that with this annihilation, when one guy pretty much took out the whole team, the remaining members, the last 4, did you think this match kind of killed SmackDown Live as far as... Because, let me explain real quick. They're going to be on Fox. There's going to be this debate whether who's going to be the bigger show.
I don't think there is. That debate's dead in the water after this pay-per-view.
Do you feel this match killed it?
Well, they showed their true colors behind it because they didn't... The one guy on the team that they could have made strong was the first guy they eliminated.
Samoa Joe, yep.
Ziggler getting all the abuse. You expected that. You expected them to highlight Shane. You expected, I don't know, Ray to hit a couple 619s. Miz to have a strong showing because he always does. This was like your basic stock match where you just kind of knew everything that was going to happen going into it.
Yeah.
And the fact that all the people on the SmackDown side that could have used looking strong, they completely buried each and every one of them guys.
Yeah.
Hardy was garbage, which we all knew he was going to be. Mysterio, they showed off a little bit. Miz just was consistent. Shane was way too overused, and Samoa Joe's a joke. Whether he's hurt or not, they made him a joke, and he was the strongest member on the team.
Yep.
It completely buried. I don't think it has nothing to do with Fox, except for that it's almost going to turn them into... They were gaining a lot of publicity for being a better show than Raw over the summer. We were saying it on this show every week after week after week. We like SmackDown better. We like SmackDown better. I think if anything is related to Fox, I'll say that they're trying to make them the underdog so that people will tune in. And that's basically all that I see, is that they're making them look so bad now that they can only go up once they hit Fox.
Okay. Well, what I feel, they did kill SmackDown Live. Someone in the chat did say that SmackDown team was trash to begin with. If their top guy, Samoa Joe, he lost it. They lost it. Everyone already, and is getting older. Yeah, everyone is like the older generation because a lot of these guys were around 10 years ago. It's more than just that. It's like, at this point, we're what? How many matches in? 7? There's 6 at this point. Or 5. I'm sorry, 5. Oh, 4, really. 4 if you count if it's just SmackDown versus Raw. If you take the Cruiserweight Division match. You're at 4. At this point, they already got a clean sweep. How bad is it? It's bad at this point. I mean, you couldn't even give them one victory, and the one victory you give them is on the freaking pre-show?
That they say is not a victory.
Yeah, exactly, because they didn't even acknowledge that. And again, kudos to New Day. Obviously, that's got to be scripted, because if it wasn't, yeah, I'll tell you right now, there would be a lot of heat on them for that, as far as Vince. But they should put up Lars as a prize team member and battle some of the Raw monsters. That would have been actually pretty cool, but he's going to go to Raw. Lars would not be on SmackDown. Too big of a guy. When he's in...
You know, since that got touched on, I've been kind of holding back because I did want to touch on that because of some stupid videos they've been showing for you. I am telling you right now.
Yeah.
What was that fucker that they brought from TNA that one year? Oh, the guy that was in America's Most Wanted with James Storm, that goofy guy.
Oh shit. Harris.
Yeah, Chris Harris.
Yeah.
Lars Sullivan, if he's lucky, will have one match.
Really?
It's a flop waiting to happen. I love Lars in NXT. I'm telling you, I just personally think it's going to be a flop waiting to happen. Because who's he going to go in there and beat with any name value? Lars ain't beating Rollins. Lars ain't beating Finn Balor. Who's Lars going to beat? Yeah, you can do squash matches, but for how long? Yeah, okay, let's do 2-3 months of squash matches and then have him lose the round the first time he fights somebody good.
I think at this point, it seems like they're trying to drift away from Strowman getting it. Like, he'll get his chance at Rumble, okay? For the title. Can you see Lars being in a program with him to start out?
Lars ain't going to face Lashley, though, because they're both heels.
Yeah, that won't work.
They're pushing Elias. He ain't going to beat Elias right now.
No, I could see them going with Strowman. That's me. Because rumors are,
Lars
if you're reading,
going to Raw, so he's not fighting Samoa Joe. See, you keep saying stuff that that's not adding up to what they're doing right now. That's what I'm saying. I don't see where the dominant, place is for him on the Raw roster.
I think possible program with Strowman. He could be the guy that could cost Strowman his chance at the title.
I have no interest in seeing that match.
I'm going to be honest with you. I have no more interest in Strowman. Me as a viewer, again, when they did that
for the most part,
that double switch killed it for me. That was the issue. I was riding high with him when he was still a face. When they turned him heel and they flopped him back to a face again, I was like, I'm tapping. I'm out.
The coolest thing that Lars is going to do is going to have a showdown with another big man at the Royal Rumble. That's going to be the highlight of Lars' career on the main roster.
What, the surprise entrance? Which is probably where they're going to go with?
Yeah. And the 5-second stare down with Strowman or Joe or somebody of some stock, but he's not going to have any kind of match with any of these guys. I don't see it. I seen him as a talent that needed a whole lot of work, and that's all you see on the internet too. These motherfuckers, all the internet people are just, they don't understand why they're bringing him up so fast.
I think TP Pro is just fucking with you at this point. He's fucking with you. He's fucking with you, man. Stop it. Stop it. You're falling for it. He's fucking with you. Well, it's a big show. Yeah, we should lock that up.
Just say Lars versus Undertaker or Lars versus John Cena at this point. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, probably on the house shows because that's the only time you're going to see Cena. Let's move along, okay? We went off the rails here. Let's go right into the next match. Of course, now he's going to yell at us. This is the D-Shep yell at his wife break. Here we go.
Get your ass up.
Okay, here we go. Are we okay to go further?
Yeah, I've been
okay.
waiting for you.
Okay, well, you've been yelling at your wife, so how am I supposed to continue when you're doing that?
And how's this different than any other week?
Oh, good point. All right, here we go. Flair versus Ronda. Now, there was a lot of criticism to, this match being booked to begin with, but they had to at this point with Becky being knocked out from Nia Jax. Oh, how do you feel about Nia Jax, buddy?
I thought we were talking about Charlotte and...
Yeah, no, I just wanted to see if I could get you heated real quick. Okay. Okay. All right. We're not going to go further with that. All right. Here we go. Here we are. Flair versus Ronda. This is something that everyone was expecting at WrestleMania, and here we are at the Survivor Series, and we're getting it. Charlotte gained the upper hand right away, throwing Ronda into lower part of the corner. That kind of turned to the shift over to Charlotte's side as, we thought Ronda was going to dominate, but Charlotte gained the upper hand by that maneuver right there. From there, she worked on Ronda's legs. Good way to attack. At one point, Charlotte really caught her with the elbow, busted Ronda Rousey wide open. Later in the match, Charlotte countered the arm into a Boston Crab, which was perfectly executed, I thought. The one false finish in the match was when Ronda hit Charlotte with the Rolling Senton, started playing in the crowd, which resulted in Charlotte spearing Ronda for a close fall, which I thought was pretty good at that point in the match. And then this is the part I didn't like, is that the match, you had a great match, but it ended in DQ when Charlotte hit Rousey with a kendo stick. After the match, Charlotte brutally attacked Rousey. She also attacked the referees that tried to break it up. And during the attack, she put the chair around Rousey's neck and stepped on the chair. Shawn Michaels caned anyone? But I got to ask you this. Despite having no build to this, what did you think of this match? Because there was hardly any build because the last second throw in because of what happened to Becky the week prior. What did you feel about the match?
It was a 9 out of 10 match.
I'm surprised to hear that from you. I'm very surprised.
The only reason it wasn't a 10 is because the turn would have been so much better if Ronda just won the match and then Charlotte did what she did after the match. But the fact they did it the way they did it was just pure hot garbage. Ronda, though, I'm sorry, I don't want to hear anybody ever bitch about Ronda ever again. Because Ronda was the clear-cut MVP of the match. She took all the gnarly bumps during and after the match. Someone very similar to Ronda, Brock, has never taken that much abuse. So props to Ronda. Props to her improving in the ring.
Yep.
Props to her for no selling the attack the next night on Raw by having a match. But you know what? You can't have everything perfect, I guess. But she really hit it home for me. The Charlotte heel face. She's gonna turn into the Big Show pretty soon too.
Well, she shouldn't have been changed to begin with, to be honest. But go ahead.
That part of it is just a joke.
Yeah.
The focus should be on Ronda, and if it's not, it's just a disservice. But the actual match itself, I would give it a 9 out of 10 until the finish.
I'm with you on that. Totally agree with you on that. It was a great match, and I said this about a couple of weeks ago when I was talking with Magriff, is that we've seen this before. Is someone that's catching on with the promos, catching on in ring. We saw this 18 years ago with Kurt Angle. It's a very similar, path. But the only thing that would be different from this one is that Kurt Angle didn't main event the first year of WrestleMania. Could this possibly happen? But given to what we saw, I don't know if it's going to be Becky or Rhonda. It might be Flair and Ronda at WrestleMania. How would you feel?
I pretty much am almost 100% convinced at this point that Nia's going to get the belt off Ronda. Ronda's going to win the Rumble. And either Ronda's going to face Becky for the SmackDown title at Mania, or it's going to be a three-way at Mania. It's going to be one of the two.
I don't think that, and I'll tell you why. Because you see that she's going out on social media. She's doing interviews that she's pretty much complaining about the road travel already. And she's not even really a year in.
No, she's not. That's a bunch of media driven up smoke.
Do you think so?
Well, because in the same light, there was interview.
She did an interview where she kind of.
Well, let me finish.
All right, go on.
3 to 4 months after the WrestleMania match, she did an interview that she was already looking to extend her WWE contract from 1 year to 2 years, and holding off an extra year than she was originally planning to start a family with that boyfriend. So I find it very hard to believe that in a matter of a couple months that she's going to sit there and just completely change her mind. Because granted, she wasn't on the road with WWE when she was saying all this stuff. Okay, I'll give the, naysayers that part of the argument if they want. But she was still traveling out of her fucking mind promoting that Mile 22 movie. She traveled 10 times more promoting that movie than she ever has traveled to go to these house shows and other stuff for WWE. So I think it's just a bunch of, we
bullshit.
Don't see Ronda out there on the red carpet anymore. So we're assuming Ronda's not happy when in fact, we all joke around all the time how that bitch is always coming out smiling all the goddamn time. Does that really seem like somebody that's unhappy with her WWE situation? I find that hard to believe.
I know, I'm just saying that's what's being said. Yeah, of course, you got to, you can't take it as gospel, but...
No, that's just it, though. It's people like that Dave Metzler dude and people like that
Meltzer.
It's not Rhonda saying that.
Well,
there's no clip from no interview where Rhonda has said this. This is all just speculation on Rhonda's status with WWE. The only time we've ever heard stuff out of her mouth, she's only expressed how happy she is with her current situation. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Until someone shows me a clip where she's like, man, the road's really getting down on me or something, then okay, I'll be with you on that. But until I actually hear some audio from Rhonda herself, it's just all bullshit.
Well, here's the thing. There's just a couple of things that's out there right now, okay? And then we'll go on to this next match. You know what? No, we'll talk about that later because actually that's what I was going to address when we talk about SmackDown and Raw. All right, so let's just go into this. We'll go into the main event. Okay, let's move forward. Daniel Bryan, Brock Lesnar. Now, my expectations is that it was going to be a complete annihilation, but let's get right into it. What was your expectation? Same thing?
Pretty much. And for the first 10 minutes, you were like, God damn, this was really a colossal waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
But then, we all had fucking 20-foot rods of whatever shoved up our ass because shit kicked into high gear, and we were all like, bug-eyed like that one black dude when he seen Undertaker lose his streak. We were all like, what the fuck?
Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah. I get the shock of when Undertaker lost. I got it. But I'm with you on that.
I'm telling you right now, if you took the first 10 minutes out of that match and pretended like it never happened, this was the match of the night.
It was. But here's the thing, though. The one thing that kind of killed it with me, D-Shep, is that the fact that for a moment you felt sympathy for Daniel Bryan. This is just days after.
I didn't feel sympathy. I felt like he could win.
Well, here's the thing. When he was being thrown around, they were playing that sympathy card.
They were, but I wasn't really buying into it.
Well, I mean, but the fact that they were trying to do that. This is just days after he turned heel when he defeated AJ Styles for the title. And then here you are 4 days later, and then you're gaining sympathy. You're not supposed to get the heel sympathy. I know they're both heels. It's a heel versus heel, technically. But you got sympathy for him.
That is the biggest problem I had was Renee Young during that match. Because she was the one that was really going a little over the top with the feeling bad for Daniel Bryan reactions. Like, it was borderline terrible. Like you said, for every reason you just said, like, Graves and Cole, they killed it on this match, about what you expected. But Renee Young, this was her worst match of the night by far.
Well, I'm not gonna pick at that. I just didn't like the.
No, I'm just saying it plays up to what you said though. Because she was the main one that was pushing
the sympathy. Okay, I'm sorry, I missed your point.
Bad for him.
Yeah.
That's the main reason.
Oh, okay. No, it's a valid reason. I'm sorry. Yeah, it just that part right there. That's what kind of killed it for me.
Like
but
Renee Young didn't get the memo from the heel turn.
Yeah, no, obviously didn't. But so the first 10 minutes, I mean, Brock Lesnar was just throwing them, and the thing that scared me is that. We know Daniel Bryan's history, and we kind of talked about this a little bit last week on the show, but we have to talk about it again. I mean, the way he was throwing around, it was like,
you gotta give that
was it
props for what he did in that match. So wow.
But was it like scary seeing him getting thrown onto his freaking head? It's like
after. We talk about the first 10 minutes. That's going to be a big stickler. But from the 5-minute mark to the 10-minute mark was just dreadful. You thought he was going to die.
Oh my God, it didn't look good.
Wow.
But of course, Daniel Bryan fought back and gave it to Lesnar, and that's the part I liked the most. And
that was by what? Since Lesnar returned to WWE 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was.
5 years ago, yep.
Far his best match.
I was shocked. Why? Because it went longer than 10 minutes. Why?
Exactly.
Why? Because there was a story.
To Lesnar's credit, he told a story in that match.
Yep.
For the first time that you could ever remember with him. He told a fantastic story.
And the story is that, here's the thing though, you had Daniel Bryan that turned heel. Then took a beating for a little bit, fought back, and gave Brock Lesnar the fight that he hasn't received from Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, or anyone that's came in Brock Lesnar's path. What does that say for Daniel Bryan?
Well, you know what that is, too? A lot of it has to do with all those other guys you mentioned going against Lesnar, even Cena, even Triple H.
Yeah.
Those are all high-octane, powerful guys. Like John Cena gets made all fun all the time. 5 moves of doom, now 6 moves, whatever. But all them core power guys, Reigns, Spear, Superman Punch, Spear, Superman Punch, Triple H, Spinebuster pedigree. They all only have 2 or 3 legitimate moves. Whereas Daniel Bryan, he's got not only his tap out move, he's got the kicks, he's got the running knee, he's got just the total package. And that's why this is the match we've been waiting for with Lesnar. We were tired of seeing powerhouse versus powerhouse for a 5 to maybe 15-minute match on the high side. To have Lesnar go out there and have this kind of match with Daniel Bryan that went on damn near a half hour was a fucking miracle and a godsend. Like, it was beautifully done.
Now, that was the thing I got from that match, too. Like what you just said, was a half hour. And the thing that, because when he was doing that beating, I was like, I'm looking at the time. Of course, I had to watch it.
It was going to be over. You know what it felt like? It felt like that first match with John Cena. He was just going to whoop his ass in 5-10 minutes, and that was it.
Yep. And, yeah, I thought it was going to be that way, because of course, I had to watch this on replay because I had work. So I'm looking at the time. I was like, there's another 20 minutes, and this is the main event. Like, how are they going to extend this? Dude, I was thinking in my mind, this is going to be slow, drawn out, and boring as shit.
DP, with his ability to have that versatile offensive game that none of these other powerhouses, Cena, Triple H, anybody, has is what made that match as fantastic as it was.
Yeah. Of course, as we went along in the match, there was a glimpse of hope Bryan would win when he had Lesnar in the yes lock, because throughout the match he did the same offense that he did against AJ Styles.
Oh my God.
Just 4 days prior. He worked on the arm, and he was trying to set up for the yes lock. At one point, he got a minute. Brock got out of it.
If Brock tapped out, would this have been a bigger shock than when Undertaker lost that first match? It would have had to be, right?
Yes, and I'll tell you, would it have helped him?
Bryan should never lose another match again if he ever makes Brock Lesnar tap out.
I'll tell you right now, if Daniel Bryan would have pulled that off, you would not making him heel. He would have got a huge pop. He would have been over like Rover. There would have been no chance of getting that guy heat. No more heat. The fact that he would have took out the beast like that.
Could that have thrown him into the Hulk Hogan, Rock, Stone Cold stratosphere?
Yeah, would have taken a guy like that out. Come on, this guy that ended the Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. I mean, come on. That would have been.
You better get that hope and pipe dream out your mind, because
that's not happening.
That's something we could talk about. It's going to be Rounds versus Lesnar.
Yeah, I know. Hold on, relax. We'll get into that. All right, so let's end it. At the end of the match, Bryan got him in the yes lock yet again, only to be counted and thrown into the F5 for 1, 2, 3. Now, people were bitching on the internet about the ending of the match, because it's like, oh, he had him in the yes lock twice, and then just like that, he threw him in the F5 and the match is over. It's like, okay, well, think about the first 10 minutes of that match anyway. The guy was thrown on his head several times. I mean, you think the guy was fully recovered up to that point, despite that he gained the upper hand by, constantly attacking Brock Lesnar. You think that didn't wear him out after taking the assault he did early in that match? To me, I thought it was a perfect ending. What about you?
Well, along that same kind of train of thought, we're going to make a big deal about the best Lesnar match since he returned because of the whole length of the match and everything. The finish I was completely okay with, because I would struggle to say that might have been the best Daniel Bryan in WWE match too. Like, you knew that man was talented, but you did not think he'd be able to hold up and still do what he does after taking such a colossal beating. Nobody thought he had that in him. Not like that,
Yeah.
Like, we all know he's top 10 talent all time, without a shadow of a doubt. But no one thought he had that extra stuff just down low. And, like, you could argue that was both them guys' best match they've ever had.
No, I think the heel turn probably brought a new side out of him. I mean, and we always say when you're heel, you have more freedom. And, yeah, dude, Daniel Bryan really knocked out the park. And, again, I've never been the biggest fan of Brock Lesnar, but I have to say it was his best match I ever seen with him. And it had to take a guy half the size, really. I mean, look at the size of Bryan compared to Lesnar. Big difference, but it took a guy that, like Daniel Bryan, to bring that out of him. So, begs the question to what we discussed earlier. Is the future bright when you have guys the size of Daniel Bryan being on the main roster? I think the future is bright when you got guys like that able to compete with someone the size of Brock Lesnar.
Our first instinct is to always want to see the new powerhouse go against the established powerhouse.
Yeah.
And that'll still probably be true to some extent from here to the end of time. But there's just something magical. Like when Eddie Guerrero beat Brock Lesnar, Eddie Guerrero beat Kurt Angle. There's just something to the littler guy winning. Like, one of my favorite things in life to do, I'm a big Notre Dame fan, love Notre Dame football to death.
Mm-hmm.
I can sit here any Saturday and watch an unranked college football team beat a top 25 team. There is, to me, nothing better in just fanboy sports where you're not cheering for any particular team over another. That, this ain't your Eagles, my Bears, nothing like that. Just sit down and watch a random sporting event. There's not much better than when the unranked college football team beats, high-ranked team. It's fantastic.
Oh, no, you're a fan of the underdog, which I like that.
I feel the same way. The same thing applies to wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
When a guy like Rey Mysterio can go out and have a 5-star match many years ago now, sure, but with Brock Lesnar also, that's fucking amazing to me. Or when Jeff Hardy first went into singles wrestling and he had that epic match with The Undertaker on SmackDown, that built Jeff Hardy's entire career. That one basic TV match, he got another 20 years on his career out of that, basically. There's just something to the littler guy going against the powerhouse that will always be magical if they have a strong showing.
I totally agree with you, and it seemed like that trend started back in 2004 with what you just said. It started with Eddie Guerrero beating Brock Lesnar at No Way Out. Regardless how he won, and it was a trend like that. And then you had Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Benoit. Benoit getting the winner.
They started pushing Mysterio after Eddie died. It seemed like it was one guy after another, after another, after another.
Yeah.
And Jeff Hardy was winning world titles. And
mm-hmm. And it seemed like 2004 was the start of that trend.
Even Christian was kind of a small dude that won a world title too. Like
in 2011, yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man.
It is.
You don't expect it. You always expect the powerhouse beating another powerhouse. You don't expect the small guy to win. And as long as you don't overkill it where the small guy always looks strong, you'll have the kind of impactful moments that you had at Survivor Series.
And what that tells you is that it takes more than just strength.
It pretty much saved the show in a nutshell. It really did.
I like the show for the most part, and then, of course, we're going to get into that right now. So, now we're at the conclusion. Finally, here we go. What match do you think stole the show? First question.
I would say if... I'm going to give you two matches, and I'm going to split it in half.
Okay.
The first 15 minutes, basically, the first half of the Ronda-Charlotte match.
Okay.
And then the second half is the second half of the Daniel Bryan Lesnar match.
Okay.
Basically, because I wasn't interested in the women's match at the end, and I wasn't interested in the Brock Daniel Bryan match at the beginning. But if you're going to tell me just to pick one match, I would probably say the Buddy Murphy match. As far as from start to finish, executed all the way through with no setbacks. Okay,
well, at least we agree on that because that was my match. And of course, second was the main event.
That's basically, the show was very easy to find the good spots and bad spots, pretty much.
Not interested in the two main matches. Are you not a wrestling fan? Yeah, I think he's calling you out on that, buddy. Flair vs. Rousey is a Mania type match. It was. I get the ending. It was the pretty much you're gonna get another Mania between the two, and that was the way to get to that.
No. I gotta be a little bit of a smart ass back now.
Okay, go ahead.
You want your Mania type match to end in a disqualification? Does that make any sense whatsoever?
In a way, I hate to defend that, but how do you end a match without getting one over on the other and then expect a second match?
Look at Ronda's body.
That was
you could have had Ronda win the match, and she still would have came out looking a little weak because her body was so beat up.
I know, and I get what they were trying to do because that was what. Obviously, you're going to see another match between them two. When? More than likely, Mania. I don't think Becky and her is going to happen.
Oh, I got you.
Oh, okay. What do you have?
Royal Rumble. We're going to have, for the second time ever, dual winners. Like Bulldog and
Bret Hart, 1994, yep.
Charlotte and Rhonda.
So do you think she's really going to drop the title tonight?
I do.
And you think a triple threat would be good?
I would rather see Ronda versus Becky because I think Becky has proven that she's earned this, and I would feel slighted and bad for her if Charlotte gets thrown in, because it just seems to me when any other woman that is on the same brand as Charlotte starts to get any kind of push, something happens, and then we have to start including Charlotte. I just hope that someday we can stop including Charlotte every time someone's in line for a push.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot there that came out of that, but we'll touch that later on as we cover on SmackDown. The next question, and let's just get it out of the way, and then we'll move on to the next one because we're pretty late into this. Which wrestler do you think had the best individual performance?
Sorry, I was reading the comment section.
Okay, which wrestler did you think had the best individual performance?
You could toss it up between Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar.
I'm going with Bryan. The way he responded to after all that, even though he lost, if it wasn't for him, it was Buddy Murphy, but I have to give it to Daniel Bryan on that one. Real quick, we already kind of addressed it, but I mean, I guess you're not a big fan of Raw sweeping SmackDown 6-0, and I guess we both already touched that. So, all right, let's move along, folks. We're done with the Survivor Series. Let's go to the Raw Week in Review.
Oh, we didn't rate Survivor Series, though.
How would you rate it then?
2.5.
I'll give it a 3.
Okay.
I mean, there was still a lot of good, despite some things that we're disagreeing with. But Fearless says Asuka, Becky versus Charlotte versus Ronda would be dope. No. Asuka the best. Well, she is good, not being used right. Yeah, I don't know.
Her back up before you're going to include her in anything.
Exactly, but if Becky is healthy, I'd rather have her and Ronda, but it seems like it's going to be Charlotte and Ronda because the reports you're seeing, it's not looking good for Becky right now. And neither for Alexa if we're going to jump on that. So while we're on Raw, let's get right into it. All right. Oh. Where's the thing? Oh, fuck. Oh, I didn't put notes on that one. Oops. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Oh, I forgot to put notes for that. That's my apology. My apologies there. But we could talk about that. Basically, Seth Rollins came out and addressed the WWE Universe, saying, 7 out of 5, Jesus. He's giving you a Meltzer rating. 7 stars out of 5. Anyways, we'll go back. Dean Ambrose, he said he wants Dean Ambrose to explain himself. It wasn't enough for what he said the week before, and he didn't like the fact that he burnt the Shield vest. Of course, Dean Ambrose, came out on the screen again, saying that no matter what he says, he's not going to get him out there. If he wants to get to him, he knows where to find him. Of course, throughout the show, Seth Rollins was chasing around the building. And then at the end, you got the payoff where Ambrose was out of the ring because he thought Rollins left. Of course, he tricked him. He came out to him and got a hold of him, attacked him. But Dean still got the upper hand. Ended the show with pretty much getting his patent move on him. And, yeah, I mean, here's my thing with the whole Ambrose and Rollins thing. Do you think they're really To me, I'm not invested in this. Given by the initial turn when Ambrose nailed that DDT on Rollins, the night where obviously Roman Reigns, it was beautiful. But to follow it up in this kind of manner, like what the hell? What are they afraid of doing? It seems like they're afraid of doing something. I mean, obviously you got thoughts, so let's hear your end on that.
Basically the same thing you're thinking. Well, I gotta make sure I say this clearly so that the viewing public can fucking understand this time. But the match itself will be fine. I love the match. This feud, I am no longer interested in. It's hot fucking garbage.
Yeah, it is.
Fucked it up from the beginning. They'll have a 4 or 5 star match, and then they'll go their separate ways.
No, it's a sin. It seems like it might be a one-off match for what you're seeing. Is that you alluded to this?
It just don't seem like they give a shit about it. Like they're not doing anything creative with it.
I think it's.
Dean walking behind Seth as he's doing an interview backstage. That was real fucking cool.
here's the thing.
Like what?
It's funny. Well, it's funny to say. If they were more involved in everything, that would be dope. Yeah. What is hot garbage is the fact that it's. I guess because of what happened with Roman.
I knew he was still going to be confused.
Yeah, Roman. That whole thing shook a lot of things up, man. And obviously they weren't going with Braun Strowman as the guy for the championship because that's what it looked like. It was going to be Strowman, McIntyre. Now you see reports of Rollins and Lesnar at WrestleMania. So it seems to me like they're not investing in it because it's going to be a one-off match where you're going to have Rollins going into the Rumble, possibly winning the Rumble, and challenging Brock Lesnar for the title. And if that's the case, okay.
Yeah.
If you got that short amount of time, wouldn't you want to do something to get that oomph, get that one payoff, and that's it? If you're going to get one match, wouldn't you want to make it worth it then? A great build to it?
Let's put it this way. They had the turn, and then what was it, at Crown Jewel, you didn't have Ambrose come out and attack at all. Nope. Then you had Survivor Series, Ambrose didn't come out at all. You already pooched the pooch. Or
screwed the pooch.
Screwed the pooch.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to spit out.
Yeah, it's okay. I got you, buddy.
Okay, let me explain something to you right now. All right? I appreciate your view, but I just must add, if you're going to try to give me shit for saying hot garbage, you might want to take TP out your fucking name. When you started out your name with toilet paper...
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's the way you're going with it.
Your own opinion right away about anybody else's shit talk.
Well, again, it's everyone's opinion. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. TP, I mean, he wants to say what he wants to say, but I love D-Shep's take on things, and he's very passionate about it, and that's what I love about it. But yeah,
I'm over the top.
Oh yeah, and you know what? That's what I love about you, man. It's very entertaining.
I gotta do something this late at night because this old ass is fucking tired, man. So if I'm not busting some youngin's balls, I did this shit on. Oh, you know what? I gotta tell a little story time real quick. This will only take a couple minutes, though. I was playing Fortnite earlier and just fucking relaxing, and there was a bunch of these squeakers.
Oh, God.
It was a save the world mission.
Yeah.
And I put the headset on, and I was having a good old fucking time talking to them little kids. They couldn't have been no more than like 12, 13 years old, and I was sitting there cursing about certain stuff, just trying to get a rise out of them. And they didn't get mad. They just kept laughing at me. It was fucking beautiful.
There is nothing more annoying, though. But
they were the best naughty little kids that I've ever come across playing video games. Like, they were fantastic. They were, like I entertain you.
Yeah,
they entertain
definitely.
Me.
But there was one thing that always annoys me, because obviously I can't play games as much as I used to. And when I'm going into a game like Call of Duty or anything like that, and I'm not the greatest at certain games. Some games I'm really good at. But the ones where I'm not that great, and then you hear this, "You fucking suck. Just take the game back."
Hey, I was defending my home base on Save the World earlier, right?
Yeah.
And you can give edit permissions when the people join in on your game.
Oh, really?
Well, I was just ignoring these guys, right?
Yeah.
And he was starting to get mad. He kept going, "Can you give me permission, please, please, please?" Well, you're just a fucking asshole. And then they left. And then
I don't know how we got into this.
And then there was one guy that stayed.
Yeah.
And right after they left, I gave him edit permission.
Okay.
But
that was a good segment overall. Yeah, definitely was.
That was more entertaining just the last couple minutes than what they're doing with Dean and I said Death. Oh God.
Dr. Death Steve Williams?
No, Death as in this feud is gonna bore me to death.
I know. They're really missing on a great opportunity.
You have to go to using Roman Reigns' leukemia. The feud is already dead.
Yeah, that was just a game more heat.
Granted, he probably gave them the okay on it.
Yeah.
But it's still, that's not something you should even ask. But whatever.
Yeah.
That could be a whole nother discussion.
But you know what's funny?
I'm good.
I have a rant, if you don't mind. and we'll go on to the
No,
Corbin and Strowman. No, because you know what's funny?
No one comes here to see your rant.
No, fuck you. I'm going to rant for once. Bryan Alvarez jumped on the fact that the word, he didn't say so much about the Roman thing, but got upset about, what's the dismemberment? The word that Stephanie said in the segment with Corbin and Strowman. So it's a segue to this. He's saying, oh, because of what happened to the journalist, the Turkish journalist, and the whole thing with the crown jewel. Like, how dare them use a word? How about this, you asshole? I mean, so they can't say that word because of what happened, and you're going to still hold them accountable because they had to honor a contract with Saudi Arabia a month ago. Now, if we're at that point, we can't use power bomb because we've been bombed, okay? We were bombed in Pearl Harbor. We were bombed with World Trade Center. So we can't use power bomb. We can't use the word bomb because we had a couple major events in U.S. history that involved bombs. I didn't get the fact that he was trying to grandstand and put himself on a pedestal for morale because of a word she said. That got me because it's that language police that pisses me off, which causes the WWE not to be so edgy. But the fact they've been edgy as of late, I don't want them to go back because of some asshole trying to call them out on something because of one fucking word. But he didn't jump on about the whole Roman thing. That was okay. No, they can't use the one word dismemberment.
Forget it. I agree. But I have to agree with TP on something finally.
What's that?
Normally, I would. I would normally be totally against something like this. But if you have Seth Rollins come out and commentate during a Dean Ambrose match, I wouldn't go as far as to say making out, but even just have Seth put his arm around her. Could you? Oh my God, that would be epic. I would be down with that. I would be down with throwing Renee in this storyline.
I like to see Seth make out with Renee. That is awesome.
I think, in all honesty, Renee is the only hope that this storyline has life, and they're probably not going to do it for obvious reasons. It's a pipe dream. But I would totally be down with that, actually.
I don't know. They've been kind of edgy as of late, and I'm liking it.
But
is it going to be the level
that just kick back with his arm around Renee during a Dean match? Oh my God!
See, this is what I'm fucking tired of stupid fucking storylines. WWE's wasting their money on story makers. Here, we could do it. You know what? We should just do a show based on that. We will book everything different and just do a different show every week. Where we just, this is how we will book it, blah, blah, blah. I guess I guess everyone can do that. Yeah, we could go on.
We're going to be here all night.
Yeah, Corbin, Strowman and Stephanie and Corbin were celebrating their Survivor Series dominance, only being interrupted by the Monster Among Men. He reminded Stephanie of her promises to him for the victory at Survivor Series. Stephanie gave him both of his wishes as he was putting in a match with Corbin at TLC. If Braun wins, he would challenge Brock Lesnar for the Universal title at the Royal Rumble. If Baron Corbin wins, he will be the official GM of Monday Night Raw. Braun, of course, agreed and said the stipulation it will be a TLC match. My first question for you, how do you feel about them two in a TLC match at the upcoming pay-per-view?
I would have went with either a table match or a chair match. Really, what are they? Normally, I would rather the TLC match be saved for a title match where you actually go up and get the titles. I don't really think you need ladders with Strowman and Corbin, but other than that, I'm pretty much okay with the rest of it.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a TLC match, but I do like the stipulation, and we obviously know what's going to happen because it's been rumored that Alexa Bliss will be taking over as GM. That's, of course...
That's a travesty.
Yeah, Monday Night Raw, but that's also a reaction. That's also a reaction because of her recent concussion. She's had too many within a year, and their concussion protocol. With that being said, is she done for good? Not going to happen.
We don't need two women GMs. That's a joke.
Well, they obviously want to do it because it seemed weird how she was dressing up the way she has been going into the Survivor Series. I kind of saw something there, but of course, yeah, it seems like that's where it's going to go, which means, yeah, Corbin will not be the guy anymore.
I don't think it fits with Alexa's character like it did with Paige.
I could see it working.
Nah.
She's a bitch. I definitely see it working. And if you want to be a constant heel like authority, yes, she's a bitch. It kind of goes. It's like Stephanie back in 2000. It's similar.
Alexa's out there being a GM, she's showing less skin, and I got a problem with that.
Of course, you got to take it down to TB Poker's freaking level here. You know, if you ever read chat. Of course.
Well, at least I'm not typing shit like sniff the panties or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, moving along.
Beth comes out with a pair of her panties and takes a whiff.
All right, well, we got your take on Alexa Bliss, but what do you think of the possibility that now it's officially, because we all kind of liked how Baron Corbin in this role as acting GM, and before that he was the constable. We were big fans of it. Now we might see the end of it. How do you feel about that?
I actually don't want to see the end of it. I'm actually going to be rooting for Corbin to win the match.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
No, I know. But I just said that's what I'm rooting for. I didn't say that's what was going to happen. That's just what I'm rooting for. I have no interest in a returning Kurt Angle at this point, even if they changed their mind and went that route. I have no interest in the Alexa Bliss. Corbin's the only person that's put any kind of life into that role on Raw in probably, God, you could argue 5 years or more. I mean, Foley was terrible. Kurt Angle's virtually been terrible. Corbin's been the only one that's brought any life to it. I have no interest in seeing him give it up, but yeah, he's likely to give it up to Alexa or whoever, and it's, I think, a mistake.
I think he's put it to the level of Eric Bischoff, in my opinion. Yeah. I don't think there's been, if we go back to the first brand split, I don't think there's been anyone as good as Bischoff. But since then, yeah, the only one that will come close to that will be Baron Corbin. He has a natural way of gaining heat, and I liked how he did that. But then again, for what was reported too, again, I read this shit because you got to see what's going on and what's being reported. But that was all because of Baron Corbin criticizing the concussion protocol because he used to be an athlete himself. And they said that's the reason they kind of put him in the role he was in. But I was like, well, that's a dumb move then, because look how much heat he got from it. It actually helped him. If you were going to punish him, you should have took him off TV completely.
He's actually wrestled more in the constable role
than
he ever did before.
That's why it didn't make sense to me for what I read, but it was reported by several sources. So I think it's more beneficial for him becoming a constable and then the acting GM. So overall, yeah, we might be seeing the end, and yeah, it kind of sucks, man. I was a big fan of it. Let's go into the last portion of Raw, and then we'll go on to SmackDown. Ronda Rousey, of course, she came out to address the WWE Universe. She said she knew she had to focus on Nia Jax at TLC, but after that, she had unfinished business with Charlotte. Ronda also demanded competition that night. Then that prompted Corbin to come out and interrupt Ronda and said that she couldn't compete. He couldn't allow it. Ronda stood up for Corbin and still demanded a match. Her match ended up being with Mickie James, and then pretty good, decent match. But of course, Ronda beats James with the armbar. Here, my question for you though, and this is with Nia Jax. Do you think this is the right person right now to be in the program with Ronda, knowing what she did to Becky a couple weeks ago, and know what she's done to other female wrestlers on the roster in the last couple of years?
Considering how much they beat the piss out of Rousey at Survivor Series, absolutely not. But as far as all this angle stuff with the I'm fighting, no, you're not fighting, no, I am fighting, it was kind of corny. But as far as this match, it was kind of buns. But overall, I would rather see someone else with Rhonda, but I really don't have that person in mind. Because the rumor has it that this was Natalia's spot to get her match before all the shit with her dad happened.
Passing away, yeah, I saw that too. I saw that report.
So Nia Jax was kind of a substitute, and you had to go with somebody. So I'm okay with it overall. I think someone like Ruby Riott probably could have benefited a little more from this spot, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think it's a weird person to put in that role. I think, yeah, I kind of wish they went with Natalya, but it resulted in her becoming a heel. They didn't want to do that because, yeah, like you said, with her father passing. Yeah, it just, given by the history, that's the thing that scares me. It's like you took out probably one of the biggest stars that was going to be like Stone Cold level. It's uncertain of her return. We don't know. She's doing the test, and as of right now, there's no return date for her. And that's not looking good because that's the same thing that happened to Alexa Bliss. And look where she might be potentially ended up.
Yeah, if she takes out Rousey too, she's done.
That's the scary part. And I'm surprised they're going that route. I'm surprised they had that kind of confidence in her. But I'm hoping it's the other way around. Not to kind of wish harm on someone, but if it's like happening the other way around, I think people will be more happy with it. But I'll tell you, she's gaining heat because people are booing the fuck out of her because of what she did to Becky Lynch.
Giving so much of this rub to Tamina is because if something gnarly does go down with Nia, then Tamina.
I see what.
Step right into it.
Yeah, I get that, and it's a smart move if that's where they're going. Do you think this is the best way they follow up to what happened the night before, though? Do you think it could have been anything better? Couldn't you think like Charlotte could have potentially did another attack?
No, I think it's good to hold off on it for now, but how long you hold it off, I'm not quite sure. Like I said, I wasn't a fan of this whole I'm fighting, I'm not fighting crap. I could have lived without it, so... Really, I'm not down with it.
I think it was just I'm the fighting champion. That's all that was, and that she took the beat the night before, and she's going to show Charlotte that had no effect on her. That was basically the story being told there. Good, and I agree with what you're saying that you don't want to overdo it because the anticipation of them not coming together too much is what's going to make that match. And again, it does seem like that might be your Mania match. And I would not be opposed to them being the main event because seeing what we saw that night at Survivor Series, there's something there, man. There's definitely something there. You're grinning. You okay? Okay. All right. So before we go into SmackDown Live, we're going to rate Raw from 1 to 5. What would you give it this week? Yeah, I mean, I know it's not going to be good on your end.
2.
Wow. You're actually higher than me. I gave it a 1.5. It was not a good follow-up to me. I thought it was a pretty good show. Decent show at Survivor Series. But, yeah, they did not follow up well at all. And then, of course, we're going to get into a certain alumni of WWE's past had criticism to what we're going to cover right now, and that is SmackDown Live, ladies and gentlemen. Pardon me. Now, you got the end of the show. Ronda doing what she did at the end of Raw. Now you got Charlotte Flair starting off the show. She came out and bragged about what she did to Ronda the night before, which I liked, actually, her little promo bragging about it. During that, she was then interrupted by Paige, which she came out and fined the Queen $100,000 for assaulting 3 WWE officials during the attack to Ronda Rousey. That's a little excessive, I think. After receiving the bad news, the Iconics then came out and mocked Flair and got set up in a match between Billie Kay and Charlotte Flair. Charlotte dominates Kay in a very aggressive manner. After her victory against Kay, she called out Peyton, saying she wants more competition. Peyton got, of course, accepted. She did get the upper hand at first on the tired Charlotte. Once Charlotte started to gain momentum, Kay calls the DQ to help out her iconic member. Flair went on to attack both of the Iconics, and I mean, I see what they were trying to do with that, but let's get your take real quick. What did you think of the segment? And who gives a shit about the matches? Because what we're focused on is what they were trying to tell, the story they were trying to tell. How did you feel about it?
Who gives a shit about the match? Who gives a shit about this story? Maybe this could have worked if the Iconics were faces, but why are a heel tag team coming out to make fun of arguably the top heel on the Smackdown roster? Like, I'm scratching my head like, what? Do they think, did they not get the memo? You know, Renee didn't get the memo that, you know, about that. So did they not get the memo that Charlotte turned heel? Or
I don't think they did, man. I don't think they did.
This was really corny. It was really terrible. I guess you can argue for her part. Charlotte, I guess, looked good. Yeah. But really, this was stupid, corny, and hot garbage and a waste of time.
I agree with you. They could have went with it in so many ways. And
Terrible.
Putting heels versus heels, how are you supposed to get more heat with that? Maybe throwing Asuka in there in some kind of way.
You know what? What if they're trying to get that tweener thing going on? You know, they got it with Becky, not, you know, that was accidental, but are they purposely trying to get the tweener angle with Charlotte?
As was my next question. How do you feel about Charlotte being thrown in the same spot? Because that's what it seems like. Because with the news of Becky not having a return date anytime soon, that is being reported, and that is actually accurate.
And I don't like Charlotte in the spot.
She's better as a heel, not in between her. It seems like they are trying to throw.
That's what I'm saying. If Charlotte was a heel, I'm down for it. But she's acting like the tweener that Becky was starting to act like, and no, I'm really bored with it.
It's a lightning in a bottle, and you're not going to recreate that. It seems like they're trying to recreate that. I don't agree with it. I love her as a heel. She's great as a heel. Being a face, she was freaking awful. She didn't seem comfortable, just like her father. They never felt comfortable being a face. Rick always said that he felt more comfortable as a heel. You see that with Charlotte, and yeah, it's like they're just going, okay, Becky, you're hurt. Don't worry about it. We got Charlotte here. We're gonna throw her in the spot. Boom, throw her right in there. Thinking you're gonna have that same effect? No, it's not gonna happen. There was a pop because she attacked Ronda Rousey. No one attacked Ronda Rousey the way she did at Survivor Series. That was just a one night thing. How this carries throughout the rest of the time, I don't know. And given how they followed up a good event, what she did at Survivor Series with this, come on. It was sloppy in my opinion. And I guess we did kind of address this. One question that did have is, at this point, do you think Becky and Ronda at WrestleMania is even possible? At this point, may not be.
No.
And I hope, I wish that she does come back. Because as much as I like the Ronda versus Charlotte, come on, everyone wants Becky versus Ronda. That's the match that should happen, and hopefully it does happen. Do you have anything to add before we go on to the last thing we want to talk about for SmackDown? All right.
I'm kind of tired of talking about Charlotte.
Yeah, same here. Hopefully there'll be something exciting for us to talk about. All right, here we go. The last thing that we're going to address real quick is Daniel Bryan finally explains on why he turned the week before. Came out to address the universe for his recent actions. So here, we're going to play and comment as we go along.
I'll be right back as you play that.
Sure.
In Lego City, anything can happen.
So, yeah, of course I got the ads, because I got to update my thing. Oh, here we go. Skip that.
I don't expect these people to understand this. But this explanation isn't for them. This is for you. Because you see, Daniel Bryan committed an act of betrayal. That act of betrayal was nearly 3 years ago when Daniel Bryan stood in front of all these people and announced his retirement. Daniel Bryan realized his mistake, he learned his lesson, and he decided to fight. And so he went all across the country and saw all these different doctors, and under their recommendations, he spent 3 hours every single day inside of a hyperbaric chamber. It was meant to speed up the healing process, but it did way, way more than that. It allowed Daniel Bryan the silence and the isolation he needed to meditate on his new mantra: fight for your dreams, and your dreams will fight for you.
Man. Pretty strong shit there, man.
Yeah.
And it worked. How else would you explain it? How else would you explain the miracle that against all odds, Daniel Bryan returned to the ring?
Now you're hearing the boos, and it's shocking that the fans are really actually eating this up. Were you surprised to hear that, though? Like, were you expecting more cheers because it's like still fresh that he turned heel? And
I don't know. It seemed like a face promo delivered by a heel.
Okay. Well, let's go further. Let's see.
But for these people, it was just a moment. They weren't there for the struggle. They weren't there for the pain. They weren't there with the fights with his family over this obsession. They didn't have to endure the psychiatrist and the therapist telling him that he just needed to move on.
I see what you mean with that, though.
The only people who moved on were these people. And you can hear it as we speak.
Yeah, they really moved on doing the yes chant every week.
Styles.
Now, here's the thing, though. You say that, but it's funny because when he first came back, it was strong. And it kind of dwindled, but I guess that could be creative. That kind of ruined that because that feud with Cass kind of killed that momentum he had with his return. Putting him in a better... I think if they put him in a better program, that could have helped him. So, I get with him saying what he said. So, here we go. We're almost there. But I'm liking it so far, this promo.
And so, when the referee was down, you didn't allow Daniel Bryan to give up on his dreams. Daniel Bryan's dreams took over. Daniel Bryan's dreams did what they were programmed to do inside of that hyperbaric chamber. And Daniel Bryan's dreams kicked AJ Styles in the balls.
By the way, I have to ask you this. Did you see that fucking... there was a video of all the nutshots that AJ Styles has taken in the last 10 years?
No.
I'll send you that video. It is hilarious. That poor bastard. I'm surprised he can't even produce any more kids. All right, here we go.
Daniel Bryan's dreams told him to allow Brock Lesnar to beat the weakness out of him, and there would be a new emergence after that match. And there has been.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the old Daniel Bryan, the Daniel Bryan that these people loved, that Daniel Bryan is dead.
I love that. That was my favorite part of this.
The yes movement is dead. And all that's left is you. The new Daniel Bryan. The WWE Champion! And the only thing that matters is that you never, ever give up on your dream. Ever, ever again.
And that was pretty much it from there, dude. I mean, it had its ups and downs. I get what you were saying that they tried to gain the sympathy, but he turned it around pretty quick, which is what you do. You fuck with the people's emotions, and I think he did it with that promo. Honestly, what did you think of it?
It was probably, like you said, ups and downs. So it was a medium promo. It wasn't the best promo. It wasn't the worst. It kind of feels like that same thing that they tried to do with Charlotte that was successful with Becky, that was organic. It's like they want Daniel to be the tweener. And this is what happening now because Becky was so successful that every time we create a new heel now, we're going to try to make them tweeners? You can't create that organic reaction. And you can already tell that the WWE Universe is getting sick of it. Because even as Daniel Bryan saying all these things that could come across as a face, they were booing the living shit out of him. And the same thing was happening with Charlotte. She wasn't getting nearly as many cheers like you pointed out when she was beating on Ronda. Just because nobody's done it yet was why she got those.
Yep.
I think people are already fed up with the tweener thing because it has to be organic. If it's not organic, then it falls flat.
I have agreed with all your assessments tonight. This one I have to disagree. And the reason I said it's because you heard a lot of more boos and cheers. So I don't know if it's going to be an in-betweener. And as far as
I meant that they're trying to do it as a tweener with the comment.
Oh, okay.
Falling flat.
Oh, okay. The thing with that,
like
though,
it's already doing with Charlotte.
Yeah. If they're going to try that, they're going to fail miserably. The people are hating on them. And it is natural reaction. I feel I'm looking forward to a heel Daniel Bryan. I can't wait for the possibilities. What they can do with that.
I want to see him come out there every week and make face comments about chasing his dreams. That's not a heel. He's referring to his dreams as a split personality. I'm sorry, but that's retarded.
You kind of saw that with Ciampa, though, in NXT. He kind of went that route.
Ciampa, though, he looks crazy. Daniel Bryan, the only reason he looks...
honestly, I kind of like the look he made, though. The look he had going into that, like in that promo, it was that glazed look. It was a different look. That's what I'm saying. I'm invested. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with Daniel Bryan. The possibilities... Something new, something different. I can't wait to see what they do. But the thing I'm not liking is the last thing I want to ask you is, it looks like creative is slowly turning the Miz to a face, and you saw that with that awful segment with Shane McMahon. That we will not go further in discussing. But would you like to see a Miz versus Bryan at WrestleMania with Bryan as the heel? How do you feel about that?
Retarded.
It would have been better the other way, and I would agree with you if that's what you feel.
I think in any role, Miz can be successful to a certain extent, but he can't win a world title as a face.
No, he's got to be a heel. Yep.
And he can have a good run as a face. Oh, no doubt in my mind about that.
It's good on the mic, yeah, definitely, but...
Because he can do the same promos he's been doing as a heel and basically not even change the words. And it could still just be a face promo. But the only thing that's going to take him to is the U.S. title. He's not going to win the world title as a face. So, yeah.
I don't know, because here's the thing. This is why I asked that question. Because you see him becoming as a face, and look how strong Bryan looked going up against Brock Lesnar. So now you got technically your heel that is strong, and he's a strong heel at this point because of what he did with Lesnar. If you slowly turn Miz, because Miz is not looked at as the guy that's a strong type. So going into a match with him, you gain the sympathy, which, again, when you turn him face, you get people feeling sympathetic towards him. I don't know. You may see a different, maybe a possibility of a WrestleMania 30 kind of sympathy you saw before when it was Bryan in that position. But I don't know. That's why I asked that question. To me, it's like, is that a possibility? That's what I'm reading into the, seeing what they're doing. I could be way off at this point, but just what you saw at Survivor Series.
I get that vibe too, but I don't agree.
You don't think it will work?
As far as doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I think he can have a great run as a face, but he's not going to win no world titles. And for a while there, I was starting to think, especially when Maurice was back with them, I thought for sure they were gearing him up for a future world title shot. And
that's what I was hoping.
I don't know what's going on with him right now. I do think they're definitely setting it up for Shane to turn on Miz during whatever the fuck this shit is.
Yeah, I think he's going to be like the authority, and Daniel Bryan is this guy. But I don't know, because it seemed like it could have been a throwaway thing, but like what Paul Heyman said the week prior, going into the Survivor Series, when he said that Daniel Bryan is number 1, as Styles is number 2. I mean, I was thinking, is there a possibility of him being a Paul Heyman guy? But then you saw the reports that Shane McMahon was supposed to turn heel back at Crown Jewel. That was the initial plan, but of course that fell through. Yeah. Do you see him going on with what you said, turning on Miz, maybe in a match?
That's what I do.
And then there you go. You got him turning heel, and then you have him team up with Bryan, getting that sympathy card. I mean, I don't know. We could see Miz versus Bryan, but the roles completely switched for what we thought was initially going to happen. And the only way we'll find out is when it happens, of course.
Yeah, at first glance, it rubs me wrong, but
it could work.
Still tune in and be highly interested, though.
I would like to see
how they set it up.
Yep, and that's what I can wait to say. The possibilities with Bryan, I'm looking forward to it. Okay, now we covered Raw, SmackDown. Oh, what would you rate SmackDown before we go on to the list? 1 to 5.
Maybe 2.
I give it a 2. Basically on the promo.
It was a very bad week for Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, not good shows coming out of the event like that, which I thought was pretty good.
And the event wasn't that great. So then to come out with 2 shit shows.
It was a 3 out of 5. I mean, it's not bad.
No, I understand that. But if you combine Survivor Series rating with Raw rating with SmackDown rating,
it wouldn't be good. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it is horrible. All right, well, hopefully.
For me, I gave Survivor Series a 3, so for me, it was a total of 7 between 3 shows.
So you're averaging about 2 points.
A possible 15, I gave it 7.
Yeah, all right. When you gave her less than half, it's fine. Well, again, not every week is going to be hit. We've been saying that Raw's been getting better. SmackDown's been pretty good. You're going to have stinkers once in a while. I guess this was just their off week, and hopefully next week, I mean, the only thing that's been announced for Raw, it may be a trend that Raw might be but it looks like Gable and Bobby Roode are getting title shots against the AOP. That's the only thing that's been announced for Raw this coming week. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah. All right, so now we covered Raw, SmackDown. We didn't cover NXT because it wasn't worth. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the list. And, all right. Last week, I was told that Becky should be on the list every week. Will she be on the list? Probably not, but you want to do the honors?
I would just say that in the Go Home Wrestling Network Hall of Fame, she's the only member.
So far, yes.
Yeah.
So what do you have on your list?
She's always number 1, technically.
All right, give me your list for the week.
I went back and forth between 2 people at 5, and that was Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. And I went with Buddy Murphy more so because of how bad this feud has been with Rollins and Ambrose. As good as the match was, the match didn't really do as much for me as the Buddy Murphy match did. So I'm going to put Buddy at 5.
Okay.
And then 4, you know what? I'm going to probably go with Strowman.
All right.
I did think about putting him higher on the list because of dominated and, eliminating 4 people and all, but I'm just kind of over it. 3, I'm going to go with Brock Lesnar because I think he had his highlight match since he's returned. And then I'm going to go Daniel Bryan slightly ahead of Lesnar at 2, just simply because what a week for Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Winning the title, the turn, the amazing performance, the weird, awkward, but good promo. Like, all around, great week for him. So even though he lost to Lesnar, I'm putting him ahead of Lesnar.
All right.
And then at number 1, I got to go with Ronda Rousey.
Ooh.
Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of what went down on Raw as far as her character, the amount that she bought in to take that beating, which a lot of people in her same position as a celebrity turned wrestler basically would not have taken that same kind of physical beating. Like, she really earned a lot of respect in my eyes at Survivor Series. So I got her at 1.
All right, that's weird because you're number 1. I don't even have on my list, and I'll explain why. Number 5, Charlotte Flair. I love what she did at Survivor Series. For the most part, it was like a who gives a fuck segment she had on Smackdown, but it remains that they're trying to build her up, and I do like what she's doing. Are they going for the in-betweener? Yes, probably. As a heel, she has heel tendency. She's great as a heel. But what she did at Survivor Series is something that no one has done to Ronda Rousey up to date. So that's why she's at number 5. Number 4, Shayna Baszler, your current NXT Women's Champion. Successful defense against Kairi Sane in an incredible 2 out of 3 falls match at TakeOver. So that's why I put Shayna Baszler at number 4. Number 3, Tommaso Ciampa. Yes, another NXT person. But it was a great match with the Velveteen Dream. A match that I expected to steal the show, and for the most part, did steal the show if you take away the War Games match.
Kind of game now?
So, Tommaso Ciampa is at number 3. Number 2, now you had him at 4, I have him at 2, Braun Strowman. I agree with what you said, that, yeah, he dominated. That was the thing. The whole idea was that he had to get a win for Raw, and the way he did it, after taking that big bump from Shane, that catapulted him up the list because, come on, that's a hell of a performance for a single guy to do in one night. So, therefore, at number 2. At number 1, and yes, it's weird I didn't even put the champion on there, but I had to put the challenger, not challenger, but the WWE champion, and that is Daniel Bryan. For what he did, taking it to Lesnar, giving him his best match since returning 5 fucking years ago. Also, doing what he did with the epic promo, I thought it was a pretty good promo. It was a mix of emotions. It fucked with the people. But at the end, he did what he was supposed to do. He got heat. You saw the genuine, you heard the genuine boos. It wasn't forced. That's my number 1 for this week. Okay. Anything else?
Oh, no. I think we got it all out.
I know, and it seemed a little long, but we had a lot to cover this week. But, of course, next week it's going to be a whole different show. Also, I'm going to let you guys know, big announcement. Next Monday is going to be the debut episode. No joke. It is going to be a Monday through Friday show. It is called a Go Home Daily Show, or Wrestling Daily Show, where it's going to be a 30-minute show talking about the news going on around. We do cover it on here, but it's things that we wouldn't normally cover. It's a 30-minute segment show that would be pre-taped to be aired live on the channel. Lex Luger 81, welcome. Ooh, nice name. The total package. So the day, it's going to be Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you follow this channel because it will be on all platforms on Mixer, YouTube, and Twitch. So make sure you catch that. Also, Griff XT will be back in a couple weeks.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. Griff XT will be back. Okay, no problem. Also, follow us on Twitter. He's at DShep1979. I'm at Wrestling_Go. And Matt Griff, our other broadcaster partner, couldn't make it this week. He was away for the holiday. He's at Matt Griff86. And, of course, I hope everyone's Thanksgiving was great. Mine was good. D-Shep's, we were talking about it. He liked his. He had a good one. Other than that, we'll be back next week for another episode of Go Home Wrestling Show. We will be doing pop-ups throughout the week, maybe doing a watch-along for Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. And like I said, the debut of the Go Home Daily Show will be starting next Monday, and it will be at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Go Home Wrestling Show. Later, everybody.
Good night.
There you go. I don't know why it delayed. Okay, later, everybody.